Hello everybody, it's Ms. Lopez. In this video, I'm going to talk about the topics and how we guide you through the topics for AP Biology. To start with, we have what you're looking at here are the 8 units that College Board requires AP Biology teachers to cover. So you can see we go from Unit 1, Chemistry of Life, Unit 2, Cell Structure and Function, all the way to Unit 8, Ecology. Now, this is kind of an outline of not only the material, but also of when we will be covering this topic. So at the start of the year, we begin with the Chemistry of Life. And then we move on to Unit 2, which is Cell Structure and Function. And then Unit 3 is Cellular Energetics. And then at this point right here is the end of the first semester. Semester 2 starts with the cell cycle, then moves on to heredity. This is Mendelian and molecular genetics, although we focus heavily on Mendelian here, and then molecular genetics in Unit 6. And then we end with natural selection, which is Unit 7. Now, Unit 8 ecology is stuff that the students are very familiar with, and they really like in 9th grade. They're easier concepts for the students to understand. So what we do is we take ecology and we break it up and sprinkle it throughout the year. We also take natural selection and sprinkle it throughout the year as well. So these 2 units, we actually spend time spiraling throughout the course of the entire year. So really, truly, we have 2 semesters worth that we need to get ready for the exam. They have information here about how many class periods this covers, but this would be based on a 45-minute block. We're 90 minutes, so you would actually divide this time in half. But what I like about this and what's available to you as well is that they tell you the percentage of how much the AP exam is going to be covered by in all of these units. So you could see that Unit 7, Natural Selection, is the beefiest. It is 13 to 20% of the AP exam, where some of the smaller ones like Mendelian genetics and the Chemistry of Life take up a smaller portion of the exam. Okay, so let's talk about how I take those units and I break them down for students so that they can be successful on the AP exam. Let's start with just Unit 1 as our example. So here you can see that these are the topics we're going to cover for Unit 1. So we start with the structure of water, the elements of life, the macromolecules, the properties of the macromolecules, the structure and function of those macromolecules, and then we get a little introduction to nucleic acids. So this is all of Unit 1. But in addition to this, what I do is I add in some ecology. It's familiar to students, and students like ecology. So we're starting with some community ecology. We're looking at like parasitism, commensalism, mutualism. We look at biodiversity, what it is, what factors affect biodiversity, and then we look at disruptions to the ecosystems. So these might be things like succession or invasive species. Many of these topics are going to be reviewed from 9th grade biology. I also added one little touch of Unit 7, which is the natural selection, in the origins of life activity. So we'll be covering phylogeny and how to build phylogenetic trees and experiments that gave us evidence for how life may have started on Earth. So this is all the topics for Unit 1. So when you're studying for a unit test, and let's say you want to go over Unit 1, this breaks down and tells you what all the topics are for Unit 1. Now, when you look at some of these topics, for example, I'm going to zoom in here. For this first one, it is explain how the properties of water that result from its polarity and hydrogen bonding affect its biological function. So this is the first objective that College Board expects you to be able to master. Well, the question is, how do you do that? How do you explain the properties of water? Well, in order to do that, we've got to break this down even further. So in your notebook where you will find these pages, I've also provided for you the breakdown so that you can double check to make sure that you're able to get to this objective. So for every unit, you're going to get multiple topic pages. This is what they look like. So I tell you what unit it is. It's unit 1, and this is topic 2. This is the title of it. Here's the relevant vocabulary for this topic. If you're going to be using these, you need to be familiar with the vocabulary we use in biology, and these are some of the terms you're going to need to know. Now, you may know some of these terms. You may not know some of these terms. We always have a Quizlet that will help you if you need some basic definitions or if you want to study some basic definitions. So you'll always find the key vocabulary for each topic. You'll also find the same objective, explain how the properties of water that result from its polarity and hydrogen bonding affect its biological function. This is what we're trying to get to. But to get there, there are several smaller steps in between, underneath that are going to help support us to get to this objective. So we've broken them down by verbs. So what you need to be able to identify. These are always going to be the easiest to do. Identifications are always easiest because it's very what we call level 1 type questions. You're also going to be asked to describe some things. So what are you going to be asking to describe? And then the explain part. And the explain is always the hardest because a lot of times students just don't go into enough detail or depth with their explanation portion. So that's what we're going to be going over are the different bullet points that you need to be able to do each of these. And all of these are then going to support you when you're trying to get to this objective here. There's also space down below for you to write some notes. If you have additional questions, once we've completed a lesson, it would be a good time to write some quick, hey, don't forget this, tips and tricks. If you develop any, if I give you any, this would be a great place to put them so that you can go back and quickly study when you need to study for a unit test or when you need to study for a semester exam or the AP exam. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Bye.